we couldn't be more ecstatic about having been able to add him to our team. We feel really good about our group. We think that we're going to have a team that's going to be able to compete on all fronts. And in general, I think we're going to wind up with almost the entirety of the team from last year brought back on top of Albert being able to come and join us. So really excited, really excited about this season. I think that this is going to be one of the best teams we've had here, and hopefully we can go out in the field and we can show that and we can earn that. But that's why we brought Albert here, is to compete for championships. And it was a credit to him that he was willing to come and give us a try here in Seattle with the same idea in mind.
Thanks, Garth. Next, we'll hear from head coach
Thanks,
Brian
Garth.
Schmetzer.
I agree with Garth in many different ways on this. Albert's a tremendous player, but let's have expectations, Garth. I mean, it's his first day. I mean, he's got to kind of, figure out his teammates and everything. So you guys, I mean, we want to win championships. He's going to help us. Let's start with that. He's not saying any introductory words, but I wish I could have told you guys the stuff he was saying to his new teammates on the field. I'll keep that quiet, but it was good. And I think the best thing I can say about Albert is just, look, his play is what speaks volumes. And so he's been a tremendous player in our league for 4 years, and so we're really happy to have him on the squad. Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah. See, we'll get it going here. Nice guy, fits in well with everybody, so we're happy to have Albert on the squad for sure.
All right, and with that, we do have a microphone coming around from Kevin Kay here on our staff. We are streaming, obviously, for those watching elsewhere, not in the room. So if you have any questions, now's a great time to raise your hand, and we'll get around to everyone for your inquiries. Jackson Phelps, I see you first.
Yeah, I'll start with Brian. Off season, it's been only 52 days since that loss to Salt Lake. How has the off season felt for you? Has it felt longer than that, shorter than that? What has your off season kind of been like here?
It's felt short because obviously it was a big disappointment, and so you're anxious to get back up on the horse and start going again. I did rib Albert that his team won without him in that last game, that they really didn't need him, so that's why he came to us. But we've been anxious to get after it. It showed on the field today. Albert and his new teammates, they were all excited to be back out on the grass, and it was a great day in Seattle. I know we had a ton of terrible weather, so it was a great day today.
Nico Moreno. Kev, you might bring the mic over right here, front row.
A question for Albert. You are coming from, being a starter in Real Salt Lake for a long time. There's players here who have, they're not stars, but they're also leaders. How do you approach that in wanting to perform, but also kind of allowing certain players to also take lead?
Yeah, well, I believe, every player is a leader in a different way, and so am I. So I'll be in addition to many leaders that this team already has. And I may not be the most vocal guy, but as coach said, I try to lead by how I train and how I play, and that stays the same, and that will not change for this season.
Maz.
The elephant in the room, Brian, what formation are you going to play? No, seriously. Just to that vein, just in terms of, you only have 4 weeks before the first game. And so that balance of players getting up to speed, if and when, tactics, what's that schedule looking like?
Well, unfortunately, because of COVID, because of green cards, because of international duties, a lot of players aren't here that would be influential in how we set up the team. So what we're trying to do with Albert and the rest of the group now is get a good fitness base in these first couple of weeks, and then we'll work on the tactics when everybody starts coming back. We do have some ideas. Certainly last year with 3 center backs that worked well. Maz, we are going back to 4-2-3-1 or some version of that to get, Nico, Albert, Jordan, Leo, Raul, everybody on the field, because we have a ton of attacking talent on this squad. So that'll be a work in progress. If it doesn't quite get done in preseason, what I would tell you is, look, last year we started the season 13 games. I'd rather have a 13-game winning streak at the end of the next year. So let's leave it at that.
Next, I saw Jose Moreno.
Albert, what were some of the factors that led to you choosing to come to Seattle, and what is it that you feel that you bring to this environment that you would be able to share with us today?
Well, the key factor for me was the winning mentality of the whole organization. You know, it starts at the top and it ends with all the players. You know, this is that privilege, the pressure of winning. You know, basically every competition that we enter. You know, I know it's a hard thing to do, but on the other side, us as players, you know, we want to win everything, even if it's a small-sided in the training game. Everybody wants to win, and I feel like this group already has that mentality. You know, so I would say that was the biggest factor of me coming here, and you know, I'm hungry to win a title as well. So that was another reason.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, this is for Albert, and I suppose anyone else that might be able to speak to it. But what was the recruitment process like? We've never seen actually a designated player in MLS go from one team to another and remain a designated player like this. I would say it's probably the highest profile free agent move the league has ever seen. So I'm just very curious about the kind of the recruitment process, what was going through your mind, and kind of what role having familiar faces like Craig and Freddie played in that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy, I'll tell you that. I imagined free agency completely different than what it turned out to be. But, you know, I'm not so familiar with everything and all the rules in MLS. I started to know them once I entered the free agency. So, yeah, it was a process, and as, you know, I already said, there were many things that played part in it, and obviously I knew Craig from my time in RSL and Freddie as well, and of course I had conversations with them, but I spoke to each and every individual that's sitting at this table right now because that stuff is important to me, and I wanted to hear directly from them. You know, what are the plans, what are the visions, and you know, once we had the conversation, I took my time to think about it, and then I made my decision. So that's how I like to do things.
Dave.
Garth, with this being such an aggressive move within MLS, signing a designated player as a free agent, how much did the upcoming CONCACAF Champions League appeal to you? Your history says the secondary transfer window is your more aggressive one, but this year it's a bit different.
You look, you know, as Coach Schmetzer has always consistently said, you know, we want to try to win any competition that we enter. And I do think that this move is consistent with what we did the last time we were in Champions League. So last time we were in Champions League, we signed João Paulo. And what I would say is just it's more of a, well, we're just trying to maximize value. It's not a belief that the summer is better than the winter or vice versa. It's, you know, the summer's a bigger marketplace, so oftentimes you can find better values in the summer. That's what drives it. But if you're playing in Champions League, then you're going to look at this and say, hey, if you can get a value in the winter, then that's preferable to that value in the summer. And so we believe that we got that with JP. We believe that we got it again with Albert Rusnák. And hopefully it puts our team in the best position to succeed both in Champions League and to hopefully win another MLS Cup.
Okay, I think we went first time through. For follow-ups or other first-timers, please go ahead and let us know. Nico?
Brian, looking into CONCACAF Champions League, last time you were there, the coaching staff decided to do it in Mexico and kind of train there. Is that something that you might try to do again, or what did you learn from that experience in preparation to this CCL?
We will be traveling from our second phase of preseason directly to Honduras. I think the travel time, it'd be foolish to, if you're training in the sun down south, to fly back north, to fly back south again. So we're going to try and be efficient with our travel schedule. And, you know, we will learn from our last experience that, you know, you got to close games out, because I think that's what happened in the last tournament. And we'll try and, you know, be better.
Melissa?
This question's for Albert. Just joining such a veteran group, obviously, Garth mentioned it, you guys are bringing a lot of people back. What does it feel like for you to be walking into that kind of situation where you have a lot of experienced players? And then also, what have your first conversations been like? Obviously, the ones that were keep quiet for sure, but just kind of how have they welcomed you?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's not my first year in the league, and I've been here 5 years, so I also have experience that I'm bringing to the team. But as you said, it is a very experienced team. There's a lot of players that have won an MLS Cup. So, you know, it's an environment, and I feel like so far all the players that are here have made it easy for me, you know, the transition into the, you know, from a different city here and then the first training session today. So, I mean, I spoke to multiple guys and probably, you know, all of them. And as the preseason goes on, I'll speak to the ones that are with, you know, national team right now. So I'm sure, you know, there'll be a lot of time to get to know each other a little bit more, I would say. But, you know, right now I couldn't have asked for a better start. So it's, you know, it's a thank you to everybody involved, all these guys, all the players, and, you know, all the staff members as well, you know. So it's been a smooth transition so far.
Jackson, I think I saw you next, and then Jeremiah.
Yeah, Craig, I would love your take on the signing of Albert and how your history with RSL and your history together may have influenced the signing here.
Well, it influences it because I'm really familiar with the player. When you go into a scouting process, obviously, the more you can find out, the better. So with 5 years, obviously, in league, it wasn't hard for everyone to know exactly what we felt Albert could bring to the table. So that, in terms of scouting, that made it a heck of a lot easier when everyone in the room knows exactly who you're talking about. And then it was a matter of just going through the fit in terms of when I talked to Brian and the staff about who they wanted walking in their locker room in terms of personality, in terms of team, in terms of environment, and how they treat it in terms of professionalism. And Albert ticks a lot of those boxes, you know, and it's nice to not have to guess. That's what I will say, to be able to speak openly in a room and really describe a player. Freddie has a ton of experience managing Albert. I really just have experience of bringing Albert into a club and then watching him develop. But it was a good process. It was thorough. It was nothing short of what I expected in terms of the way Albert is wired. He wanted every detail and then time to digest the details, and that's exactly how it went. So just in the end, happy that we got him.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, I suppose this is for Craig, maybe it's for Garth, but at what point in the process did you identify Albert as a player that you guys were going to pursue? At what point did it become obvious that he was even someone that was attainable as far as bringing in?
When the league issued the free agency list, about 3 seconds after that, you know, that you kind of browse the list as we all do and highlight the names that are interesting. And it doesn't take long to highlight a player like Albert in terms of, as you pointed out, it's, you know, it's the biggest move that we've seen in league history in terms of a player changing from one club to another. So didn't take but a couple seconds to identify it. It took a little bit longer to get it over the line. But in terms of creating the introductions and making sure that Brian and Albert and Garth and Albert had enough time to get to know one another, that was a really important step in terms of how they would feel the fit.
Let me add to that, too. When Waibel first said 3 seconds after the list came out, I'm like, Rusnák's not coming. Come on. This is the best player on our arch rival. Right? And a lot of the media coverage, by the way, is centered around, well, Albert could have gone anywhere with an MLS, but Albert had offers abroad, too. I mean, he's an internationally sought-after player, right? Yeah. And, you know, really, truly, I think if these guys didn't know each other, and if Freddie weren't here, and obviously Albert could speak to it better than I can, but I think we were very lucky to be able to have some of the conversations that we had because there was some trust there. It wasn't just jump off a cliff and go to some other team and hope for the best. You know, so, you know, as much as I was initially skeptical of it, I was like, well, yeah, I mean, if we can do it, that's amazing. That'll be the biggest deal in league history from a free agency standpoint. But, you know, look, I got to tip my cap to Albert here. I mean, Albert's the one who said, I'm willing to take a chance. I'm willing to throw in with you guys. I'm willing to come in and play for a new coach, play in a new system, play in a pretty established team, right? And it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of confidence to be able to come in and say, you know, not only am I going to hang with those guys, but I'm a leader, and I believe I can be a leader in that group, and I can help that group win championships. So, at the end of the day, this isn't about front offices and cleverness and timing. It's about Albert, and it's about Albert's ability and Albert's willingness to come and join the Sounders, and that's what's really cool about today is that he was willing to take a chance on us, and hopefully that works out for everybody.
Jose, I think I saw you next. Here comes the mic.
with the World Cup coming in at the end of the year this year, having it be a different timetable than it usually is, how important was it for you guys to get quality players to reinforce the already established roster that we have, given that we have a lot of internationals in that roster?
Look, I think we've had a lot of internationals for a while, Jose. You know, like that's a byproduct of having a good team. And, you know, I think, you know, as Coach Schmetzer said, I think we're going to have, you know, more than half a dozen, maybe as many as 10 guys get called in again. And that just is what it is. And look, some of that's too a reflection, I think, of where the league's going. You know, as we start to get excited, you know, the day after this World Cup ends this year starts the run-up to the American and Mexican and Canadian World Cup in 2026. And don't think there's not a lot of excitement about that, right? And you've seen us evolve, right? Like, for 3 or 4 years already, we've said to the league, we're not going to play on FIFA dates. Now, our opponents might choose to. We maybe played some road games on that. But, you know, going back all the way to 2019, where we would, you know, routinely in windows have 10 guys called up, I think we're going to be in a similar posture again now. And that is what it is. And that's a really good thing for us in terms of the growth of the league, the evolution of the league, the evolution of our team, and also the opportunities for young players, right? You know, we have right now 27 or 28 guys signed. That's more than, I've gone entire seasons without signing that many players. And that's a reflection of just how far along our youth program has come. And so now when these guys go away, whether it's in preseason, whether it's in the regular season, that means opportunities for these young kids. So we get excited about that. You know, we get excited, and we've been so fortunate that Ladero and JP and Raul, they've been so great with young players. And it was something we talked about with Albert, like coming from Salt Lake, where they have a big investment in younger players. This is Albert, is somebody who's willing to be a mentor to some of these kids as well. So I think overall, Jose, it's a real positive for us.
Go over to Dave next, and then down to the front row to Maz after that.
Albert, we've gone over all the soccer reasons and kind of the financials and the MLS rules, but who do you lean on for the Seattle lifestyle? You've moved now to Puget Sound. Who's going to be your connection? Who do you ask for recommendations? What to do? What part of town to live in? All those kinds of things.
Well, I've already gone through that. I've already had multiple conversations about that as well, and that's, you know, that's something also important to me, you know, knowing beforehand and then looking beforehand. So once I get here, like I got here a couple of days ago, it can be all about soccer because that is ultimately the most important thing, and that's the reason why I came here. So, you know, to answer your questions, I've already gone through all the stuff off the field about where to live and which areas are nice and this and that and school for children and so on and so on. You know, the list is very long. So that's all been taken care of. And, you know, I can't point out one person who was the one that helped me out because there were multiple people, you know, that were willing to help me in these decisions and gave me the information about the city and about everything that I wanted to know, you know. So I can't really point out one person because there were multiple people involved who helped me.
Go ahead, Mas.
Yeah. So Albert, check, Sounders, great organization, great coaching, you know, all of that stuff, and people that you're familiar with, great city. Let's go back to what trait, back on the pitch, what trait is it about the Sounders that made you say, you know what, they do this? And I don't necessarily mean the formations, but when you played against them and you saw them, what was that trait as a player that you said, you know what, I want to be part of that organization?
Well, all the away games, you know, the fans. I mean, there's a lot of fans that come to the Sounders game, and then they're very loud. And I remember each and every game that we played here, it was always tough, you know. Yes, secondly, I mean, the players, you know, as Garth says, there's a big number of players that are international players, you know. Another thing, you know, I've been here 5 years, and I believe 3 times Sounders won the MLS Cup. So I do remember my first year in 2017 and you know, 2018 and 2019. So I do remember who won the MLS Cup and who made it consistently, not just in the playoffs, but in a deeper runs in playoffs and ultimately into the MLS Cup. And Sounders are that team again. So, you know, back to my point, the winning mentality and wanting to win the competitions you enter. As Coach said, it is a very difficult thing to win multiple competitions. Even just one, it's a tough thing to do. But this is what we want as players, and this is what I want, is to have a real chance. And I believe here, yeah, that chance is definitely on the table. So, my job right now will be to help the group and ultimately the whole organization to reach the goals that we have set for us, or we will set for us before the season officially starts.
Take our last few before the jersey presentation photo opportunity. I believe Nico Moreno is next, and if there are any remaining questions from there, just let us know. Nico.
Yeah, I'll ask Albert, and then a really brief one just to Brian. Albert, you hear all of this spectacle about your move here and, it being the biggest transfer domestically, and you're a top player coming into a team that's been fighting for a cup time after time. How much pressure is it on you, and how do you deal with that pressure here in Seattle? And then briefly after that, Brian, if you could just talk about, I happened to see, I thought I saw Eddie Rose out there today. I was just wondering if you could just elaborate on that. Thank you.
You want to go first, Garth?
I'll let you end. What I would say to the couple of questions before, when you add Albert to the mix, it gives renewed energy, good vibes for all the other senior players. It's good because of his stature and his wanting to win. It gets everybody energized, so that's always a good sign. Andy Rose will be joining the staff as an assistant, so that's big news. That energizes old guys like me, young guy coming in, hungry, a bunch of new ideas, so that's always good. But, it's Albert's day. I'm sure you guys can talk about Andy. What I would end on before we give it to Albert is, we're just really excited. We're very fortunate. And I believe, because we asked questions about Albert too. He asked us a bunch of questions, but we did our research as well. And nothing but good things about his character, which is always important, the culture of this club. And so he checked that box very well. So we're lucky to have him.
Yeah, and back to your questions about pressure. I mean, I can't remember last time in my career where I didn't have pressure, when I didn't, every time you change team, the expectations are high, and there's always pressure, I signed for RSL in 2017, and I was replacing a club legend. Again, pressure, and now I'm coming to a team that is, as you said, is expected to do very well in every competition that we will play in, and again, it's pressure. So it's, it's a good pressure because, as athletes, I believe if there's no pressure, then I don't think you can get the best out of yourself. So the pressure is good. It's not a bad pressure to have, and it's something that I'm used to, and it's nothing new. So, I mean, yes, there will be pressure, don't get me wrong, but, I'm ready for it.
I think Jackson may have had, or no, I'm sorry, did I miss someone? Okay, Jackson, I think it's your question.
Yeah, just really quick one for Albert, and then one more for Garth. Pronunciation on your last name. I've heard it a couple of different ways. How correctly is it pronounced?
I mean, it's Albert Rusnák.
Rusnák. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. And then, Garth, we spent a long time towards the end of last year talking about Nico Lodeiro's health and potentially the long-term elements of his health. Obviously, he's not here, but how's Nico doing, and any other health concerns we should know about going into 2022, or is the team healthy?
Look, what I would say is try to answer that holistically, Jackson. We made a commitment, and you guys heard us talk about this at the end of last season, about really rallying around an injury prevention protocol. It's something that we've all talked about at length. We've done a deep dive. How do we keep the group healthy, right? I mean, I understand, symptomatically we miss Nico. That's very obvious. That's a reflection of that. But what we really want to do is try to evolve our culture so where every aspect, the performance team, the coaching staff, the medical team, the front office, we really are all working collectively to try to give these guys the best chance to be on the field consistently and to give the group the best chance to win. So we are all committed to that. We're going to work toward it. Obviously, Nico is still in Uruguay. We haven't seen him. So, offering a speculation about what he's doing or what he's not, we haven't seen him yet. So, and that's okay. He's working his way back. We have every belief that he is going to be able to come back good as new, and we're excited to have him back. But again, Albert was signed because we think he's the best player for the group, and that's independent of whether Nico is playing, not playing, where he's playing. My job as a GM is always fundamentally to give my head coach lots of choices, and hopefully Brian's got lots of good choices to make, and we're going to hopefully bring the best out of Albert, bring the best out of the group, and hopefully win some championships.